Let's try this again. Hello, everyone. Do you want me to take a seat?
Up to you. That's up to you.
Let's sit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Casual. All right. Well, I've been in China for a week. It's been incredible. Lots of food. I was able to meet a few people already that I've seen here today. Marsh and I got to hang out earlier this week. And when I was asked to be a part of this, I was really excited because as an actor, you know, as storytellers, we get to kind of be in more on the ground with I guess with just the telling of stories. And I thought it was such a great idea to have somebody that has been, you know, does this for a living, but also gets to, visit places that, you know, most people will never visit in their entire life. And so for me, sustainability has always been a big topic in my household. My mom, growing up, was making us eat organic and do organic things before it was even a buzzword in everyone's mind. And you know, at first we really were not into it because the other kids at school weren't. And the older I got, the more I understood how important it was, you know, to respect our earth. And just a side note, do you need a moment for translations?
Do we need translation? No?
Okay.
Fine.
All right, cool. I mean, I realized that was a long paragraph. So let's see. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I got the opportunity to travel with Ecoridge, which is a PR company out of the United Kingdom. I was introduced to by a jewelry designer from Harvard, and they said, you really need to meet these people. I think that you'll align with them. So about 2.5 years ago, I met them, and this was actually the third trip that I did with them, but I'll start here. So this year, you know, we were on strike as actors for a few months, and so I had some time to kind of go do some things that I really care about. So I was able to visit Australia for a week and visit a wool farm. And we really have a big issue with traceability anywhere. I was telling Summer this morning, I was like, we use materialistic to describe somebody that's, you know, obsessed with just goods and loves to consume. And I was like, why don't we flip that around? Like, why, like, materialistic should be a good thing. Like, if you're obsessed with the materials that are going into everything that you buy, that should be a good thing. You should be obsessed with what you're putting on your body, what you're wearing with you, where you're putting your money. And so I got the opportunity to visit the wool farm, check out how much biodiversity exists on this farm, see how intelligent these farmers are that have been doing it for generations, and then go to Fashion Week. So after this trip in July of this year, I was then able to go to Fashion Week in September, and I got the opportunity to visit one of the oldest textile mills right outside Milan. I think they've been around since the 1600s. And they actually positioned themselves years ago. I think Xenia Oasis is up there, and then there's lots of other places, but it's like the lightest water in Europe, they say, so it's easy for dyeing. And they went through this long process. I think it was like, we did like a 3-hour tour of this entire factory, and just how thoughtful they are with their process was something that was so inspiring to me, because, you know, I watched this this documentary called, I want to say it's River Blue, about the dyeing industry and how it just goes into the channels in India, and the water actually bubbles because it's just so full of nasty chemicals. But these people have a 7-step process of water filtration. So they get the water. If this is too much information, it's boring, let me know. But they get the water from the city. They use it as many times as possible to dye the textiles that they're producing. And then it goes through a 7-step filtration process that's then returned back to the city water system, and then it gets redistributed. And a couple of years ago, the city actually tested the water that they're giving to these factories and the water that's coming back from the factories. And this particular factory returned the water cleaner than they accepted it. So I thought that was like, what an incredible case study for a company that's been around for hundreds of years that actually is doing it right, and why can't we implement that around the world? And I just find that we go, the collective we, I don't want to say, companies go to the least expensive places in the world, exploit women, exploit the workers, exploit the land, and then as soon as any kind of legislation comes up to change it, they leave the country and go elsewhere because, you know, they can't. So this trip to me was very, they've gone to Botswana already, all right, I'll move on. It was a very important trip this summer, just seeing the entire process with fashion. Okay, so last year I went on this trip to Botswana, and this trip has been trying to be planned for like 2 years, and finally I had an opening, I want to say it was like April before I filmed in London. And, you know, in the States, we don't really know anything about ethical diamond outside, or anything about diamond mining outside of the movie Blood Diamond. Personally, like that's what I grew up watching and going, oh my gosh, this is where our diamonds come from. And I got the opportunity to visit, oh there's Shilpa right there. So the girl right next to me on the right with the long brown hair, she's the Harvard grad that has the sustainable, ethical jewelry brand. And then the seam is the shorter woman, and she runs the entire mine. And learning that they know there's a finite amount of resources in this mine, and they have a maximum 50 years to mine it. They know that they have a responsibility to their country, you know, to boost their GDP, but also to the people that work there, to pay them a living wage, to teach them new skills, and also to invest in the future of the children and their education. Because they know, you know, there's lots of money to be made over the next 50 years, but when the resources run out, what happens to that town? In the States, they become ghost towns. So if you go to Nevada, you know, if you look at the United States during the gold rush, there's tons of cities that are, like when I drive to Las Vegas from Los Angeles, there's lots of ghost towns you can visit that were former gold mining towns that are no longer, they're just dust, and now they're a tourist attraction. And they have the foresight to say, okay, we can own our own mine, we can ethically mine it, we can teach our communities to work in many aspects of the business, and then we can put that money back into our children and future generations so that we're not where we were when we started, and we keep, don't quote me on this, I mean they keep probably more than 60% of the profits. And they're also creating technologies to trace where these diamonds come from. So, you know, once it's sold in Botswana and it's sent to, you know, say LVMH buys, I think LVMH actually bought one of the largest diamonds ever found at the Lucara mine. And they start breaking it up, it's scanned and scanned and scanned, and you know where it comes from. So finding things out that I didn't know has been such an inspiring journey for me, because we don't know where our stuff comes from. And when I was planning my trip to China, it was about a year ago. I was supposed to come last year, but I just, schedule-wise, didn't work out. I was talking to some of the people I work with in LA, knowing the people that I was going to see in China. And I was like, I work with a lot of incredible luxury brands, a lot of brands that are, you know, pushing the limits with sustainability. And, you know, some of them, it is greenwashing. Some of them, it is actually trying to make space for emerging new fabrics. And I mean, I think Balenciaga did that mycelium jacket, you know, doing stuff out of mushrooms. It's just, I mean, what we can create with alternative fabrics is off the charts, and I just think the more money that we can invest into that, it's like the iPhone, right? The iPhone was so expensive in the beginning because it was a new technology that nobody knew about, and you had to invest so much to create this device. And now it's affordable. I'll put that in quotations, but it's more affordable because there's so many. It's being created for the masses. So anyway, back to China. So when I was starting to do my research to come to China, I said, okay, I know I have the opportunity to wear global fashion brands when I go, if we have events, I go, but I would love to find Chinese designers that are actually doing the work, just like I am working with some of them in the United States. And I was introduced to Boamin of K-Boxing, I want to say maybe 8 months ago or something like that. And we became friends, and I found out that he was the first Chinese brand, his family's brand, was the first brand to join the UNFC, oh there's lots of C's, I think it's UNFCCC, maybe one more, it's with the United Nations, and, and they were making a promise, to do better and to have traceability. And so on all of their garments, they have the QR code that you can scan. You can see what the carbon footprint is and where everything comes from and who makes it. So, that was really inspiring to me and exciting. And so that was my reason when I came here. For planning things like, what are you wearing and stuff. Like, this is from Australia. This is wool. But I was like, I'd love to, check out their facility and get to know those people because they are the change. Oh, here it is. I haven't looked at my cards once. I hope I'm on track. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, 3 C's. There's 3 C's. UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. There we go. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I guess I'll wrap it up by saying, as someone that has a platform that would like to leverage his platform for good, I find that education is key and something that I really lean into. Because I think we have the option a lot of the time, especially in America, our social media is kind of just full of stuff that's not really teaching you anything. It's more forms of entertainment. And so if I can provide a little snippet of something that you didn't know or something that you didn't know on my sustainability trips, like that's exciting to me and inspiring like the next generation of people. And I think Gen Z is already on it. I think they have learned from all of us what is good, what is bad, and how to incite real change in the world and in the industry. And I'm really excited to return to China, and I've met so many wonderful people that I can't wait to come back to visit again, but also just like the level of art here and just talent, and I guess the realization that we are so similar as humans and as people, even though we're seen as East and West. Like, it's been so nice to bridge the gap between East and West by coming here and meeting so many creatives that really have the same goal in mind. So thank you again for having me. I really appreciate you guys all letting me babble up here and share some of these experiences. And I think that we do have a corporate responsibility. And let me say it again. I think as people, as a person of influence, as someone that has a platform, I think it's up to us to align ourselves with brands that also share the same values. Because there's campaigns with, say, soft drink companies where we're going to be carbon neutral by 2025, and your face is all over the world saying that I agree with this company. They're going to be carbon neutral. They're only going to be using recycled plastics, no more virgin plastics in their bottles. And then they cancel the campaign as soon as it's over, or maybe mid-2024, or they move the finish line. And I just think it's our responsibility to ask these questions and not just go for quick money. I think it's so important for us to also share the responsibility with these companies, saying that if you put an actor, a musician, a person of influence's face on a product, the consumer's believing whatever the company is putting out and whatever that actor is saying because you trust them. And so I think we really have to be mindful of the level of trust that is put into the celebrity, the actor, the musician's hands, and know that the world is watching. And personally, I've kind of gone out of my way to make sure that everyone I've worked with has a plan and is not going to go back on their promise to the people that they are marketing to. Oh man, I think I blacked out. I don't know where I'm at. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here, to be a small part of this conversation. I'm sure I went over my time. Wish we had a clock because I probably would have said a lot less. But I am excited to come back to China, and thank you so much for hosting this. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 好，谢谢 Tyler 的分享。然后接下来我们有请到 David，我来请各位1分。